Hey, this is Dov Marcus, director of healthcareraw.com, your favorite podcasting host, registered nurse, rabbi, dad, and overall all-around good guy. Without an ego, right? No, seriously. Good morning to everyone. I wanted to share something, a conversation that I just had with a friend of mine. I'm going to leave the friend anonymous. It was a very quick conversation, but it totally got me thinking, and I want to share it with you, okay? Because I want to get you thinking too. So, depending on how you're arriving at this podcast, maybe you've been following us for a while, healthcareraw.com, Healthcare Raw Podcast, the first patient-centered, patient-driven, focused podcast out there. Yeah, baby. Depending on where you're coming from, you may have heard me talking about how this is all about the patient. Healthcare is all about the patient. It's all about you. All these health systems and everything that's out there, it's a sixth of the U.S. economy, healthcare. I mean, we're talking like billions, maybe trillions. Like, we're talking so much money, so much care, so much development over the last 100 years. Like, do you have any idea just how crazy healthcare is? How many millions of people it employs? How many millions? Like, virtually everyone in this country is somehow affected by healthcare, right? Whether you're sick, I hope you're not sick, but if you are, obviously you're getting your healthcare, right? And we're not getting into political discussions about like, oh no, I don't have insurance. You know what? Thank God we live in America where if you get sick and you go to the emergency room, they're not going to turn you away. So the point is that healthcare is massive. And so what I've told you is that I have some great ideas as to how to apply some of the skills the practical things that I've learned through being a nurse. And, excuse me, you know, that happens to the best of us. Thank God this is a podcast and I can just delete that, but hold on a second. On the other hand, I could just leave that in there to show you that I'm a real guy. So anyhow, the point is that I came to realize that there's a certain way that I deal with my patients, that I've been dealing with my patients over the years. Getting back to the original purpose of healthcare, when I go into my patient's house or their room in the hospital and I've got my bag of tools and I'm going to go and I'm going to look at do their IV thing, or I'm going to check out their wound, or I'm going to listen to their lungs or teach them about certain medications. Well, if I'm like most people, I'll just focus on that stuff, right? Focus on my tasks. But if I'm a super awesome nurse, which I always try to be, I'll do all those things. But while I'm doing it, I'm focusing on the purpose of healthcare. And the purpose is that patient, right? So I've had this dream that I'm going to break into corporate healthcare. I'm going to get in there. I'm going to talk to the CEOs. I'm going to talk to the executives. And we're going to work our way all the way down to the people who are in the trenches, the nurses, the people walking through the hallways, the doctors, the people taking out the trash, all the trench workers, right, who are what healthcare is all about, right? The people who serve the patients. And we're going to get out there and remind them of the purpose, and we're going to strengthen the purpose. And I believe that when we do that, everything gets better, right? Everything gets better. Anyhow, so I'm talking with a friend today, right? Real brief conversation, and I just have this crazy epiphany, And then later when I saw my kids, I explained to them what an epiphany is, and I acted it out. Like, I was like pretending like I'm walking down the street, and then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I just had an epiphany. And then they knew exactly what an epiphany is. But anyhow, here's the epiphany. Okay, now it's going to be tough to break into health systems, and I say break in, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about from a sales thing, right? Break into healthcare, get back. Like, I'm a nurse, I'm experienced, I'm a rabbi, I've worked as a chaplain. You know, getting health systems to listen to you, even if you really believe that you've got a super solid message, it's going to be hard, and I'm going to get it done. But what if I could take the core of what I'm trying to do and apply that in other arenas as well, right? For example, sales, right? You've got a company and you've got your sales force, right? And so the epiphany was, and as I told my friend, I can apply my nursing skills to sales. In fact, I said to him, I do sales. I'm a nurse. I do sales. And what does he say? He says, no, you don't do sales. I can't see that. You don't do sales. And then I hopped on Facebook and I wrote, I put up a question like, do you see the connection between sales and nursing care? And then another nurse who I know, one of my Facebook friends, says, no, it's more like being a waiter. And I agree with that one. I talk with that one. Actually, I talk with my patients about that one a lot. But sales. You want to know how I do sales in healthcare? Do you know what is sales all about? Sales, when you want to sell something, okay, so I went into a suit store, and I think it was like the Men's Warehouse or something, and this guy comes up to me. He's wearing like the nicest suit ever and the starchiest tie, and he's like the cleanest clothing I've ever seen, right? That guy looked like he took it off the rack right over there, and he had his hair greased back, and he was like this tall guy. He looked like he was like maybe a football player in high school. And so I walked in and I'm like, hey, I want to buy a new shirt. Show me your sales rack, right? So the next thing I know, he has me standing on one of those platforms with 3 mirrors, like one in front and one on each side, right? And I'm wearing this $250 suit, and he's like, oh, this is the cheapest suit we have. And he starts putting shoes on me, and I'm wearing a shirt and a tie, right? And I'm like, wait a second. I don't want any of this. I just want to buy a shirt, right? So I considered him like a greasy salesman, right? So that might be what you think about when you think of sales, but I think that a good, effective salesperson, and obviously sales is a very, very broad kind of thing, and if you're in any kind of sales, or if you have an idea of sales, I mean, sales is so big. I could be talking to anyone. You need to think about this within your own realm. And even if you're not in sales, I want you to know what I'm talking about over here. When I, as a nurse, okay, when I first interact with a person, I realize that I have to sell them. I have to sell them on me, right? On me. It's not about me just walking in and practicing on them, right? Or being, I'm not a body mechanic. Okay, maybe I've got that crazy the crazy training, right? And when I say crazy, I mean technical stuff, right? Obviously I do what I do and I know how to do what I know how to do, but it's not like, when a patient comes into me for me to do their wounds, for example, I love that example because it's so common, right? I mean, I'm not a body mechanic. Okay? So it's not like changing the oil. It's more meaningful. And so where the sales comes in is that I need to immediately build that person's trust. I need to build that person's trust. And there are obviously many ways to do it. And so the first thing is that if I'm calling the person, for example, in home care, you call the person the night before, I'm calling someone who is sick, who needs to be seen, and I've never seen them before, and I need to set up an appointment for me to walk into their house. I'm basically a stranger walking into their house. So I need to make my voice sweet. I need to make hi, this is Dov. I'm one of the nurses. How are you doing today? Oh, I'm pretty messed up. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. And then I try to just build this rapport. If I'm walking into the room in the hospital or when I go to their house, look, I'm some kind of guy with a big beard. I look different, right? I'm not like this cute little nurse. So I realized that if they were to just see me without anything else going on, like they just see me, then their brain might come up with some sort of idea of who I am. So what do I do? I let them hear my voice first. So they heard me the night before we built the rapport, right? Then I knock on the door and come in, or I'll let them hear my voice before they see me, right? So it's all. So the point is that these are all sales tactics and methods, right? So I just wanted to show that's the tip of the iceberg, right? Then you can get into the whole method of how do you go about through the sales. And that's something that my epiphany was to develop that and bring it to corporate America. You see, healthcare raw is powerful. This is power. You've joined a secret community of people who are going to change healthcare, right? This is what this is all about. I told you I'm passionate. I'm like a steam train. You ever see a steam train? I went to this outdoor train museum in Los Angeles. It's right outside of Los Angeles. And you see these trains, which are it's like an elephant in the wild. You ever see an elephant in the wild? I saw elephants in the wild in Africa. They're bigger than you can imagine. Like when you see it, you're like, whoa, that thing is like 2 stories tall, right? Bigger than any elephant you've seen in a zoo. These steam trains are so massive. They're so massive. They're so heavy. And when they get rolling, there is nothing that can stop them. Nothing that can stop them. And that's what Healthcare Raw is all about. It's not about me. It's about the patients. It's all about the patients. So when we take these skills and we transfer them into another arena, we'll be helping those people too. But it's all in the name of the patients, right? I believe that everything can come back. I've learned so much about life from my amazing patients. If I can take some of that knowledge, some of the life experience that I've learned, and help other people, give them certain, it's skills that they've already, it's nothing new. I'm not inventing anything new, but it's really taking healthcare and using it as an analogy for other areas of life. All right, dear friends. So that's pretty much a wrap on it. I think that I just built my case as to how healthcare, nursing is connected with sales, and how, yes, I am a salesman. Have yourselves a beautiful day. Send me some comments. Get in touch with me. Make sure that you're subscribed to this podcast. Get in touch with Healthcare Raw Podcast on Facebook. I'm all over the place. We need more people over here. If you really want to be brave, then repost these things. Send them out to your friends. If you know other nurses, send them to the nurses. If you know patients, send them to the patients. We need to get this done, folks, and I will do this with your help. Thank you so much and have a beautiful day. We'll see you in the next podcast.